cables off the Jeep, now we can get started on making new ones. And that begins with measuring our lengths. Alright, now that we got all our lengths measured out, you can kind of see how they're laid out. Pardon my chicken scratch. So we got from the alternator 38.5 inches to the fuse, and from the fuse to the battery, I don't have any ends for this because they're already on the Jeep, but there'll be a fuse here. These are 3/8 and these are 5/16. You can actually see that on there, 2/0 5/16. So 5/16, 5/16, 5/16, 4 5/16 for the alternator to the battery with a fuse in between. For the battery to the PDC, it's about 19.5 inches. And you got a 3/8 on one side and a 5/16 on the other. This one's bent over at 90 degrees, so it can go from the battery and just kind of loop to the PDC. Next one is the battery, 36 inches to the starter. That one's also bent at 90 degrees. This is a 5/16, 3/8 on this end. Battery to the fender, 8 inches, 3/8 on one end, 5/16 on the other. Battery to the engine, that's 26 inches. Engine to the firewall, that's 15 inches. So all these measurements are for, from basically, eyelet to eyelet. With all these labeled, now I can start building the wires. For wire, I picked up this kit from Amazon. This is 2/0 wire. It's actually meant for welding and battery cables. It's got a high strain count, which is going to help with amperage flow through the wires. Stock form on the Jeep, those things are like 8 gauge. And they're low strand count, which means they're more susceptible to fatigue. They don't flow as well. This little upgrade here, I'll never have to worry about the battery cables again. With these cables in that kit, it comes with three or 4 foot of light duty heat shrink tubing that you would put over the ends once you solder your lugs on. You can use that stuff. I would actually recommend upgrading to some heavier wall tube, and you can actually see inside this, it's kind of shiny. That's actually got an adhesive lining on it, and it's pretty thick. I like this stuff better just for the simple fact that it's thicker, and the adhesive makes me think that my joint's going to be protected 100% from any kind of weather. With these wires, you also get 10 3/8 lugs. So it's these guys right here. 2/0, and then it's got a 3/8 hole. 10 of those. And you can see I've used some of them, which is good, but you're definitely going to have to pick up some more. So why not get a different size? So I ended up getting a 10 piece of these 2/0 5/16 ends. And you can see they kind of fill out the rest of it. I got these 5/16 ends off of Amazon also. It came with 4 short pieces of heat shrink like this. And these are also, this is some pretty good stuff. It's also adhesive line. You can see how shiny it is in there. This stuff is usable. The stuff that comes with this wire, it is usable, but I wouldn't use it just for the simple fact that it's thin and it doesn't have glue in it. So I ended up picking up some more heat shrink. I don't know how much I'm gonna need, but I'm definitely gonna need more than what I got with these lugs. So with all that being said, let's get started making cables. So with all the cables made, I ended up with about 5 foot extra of the red cable and 3 foot extra of the black cable. Now one cable that you didn't see me make is the chargeback cable, or basically the cable that goes from the alternator to the power distribution center. I've actually already made that in another video. I'll put a link to that video right here. So now that we got all of our cables made, now we can get to putting lugs on and soldering. So for a fuse for the alternator, I got this Fastronics inline fuse. It takes a mega fuse, and right now it comes with a 250 amp fuse. That's what I got in it. I think that'll work for now. I did upgrade to a 160 amp alternator as a part of this little electrical upgrade. Definitely suggest doing it because very little work and you get double basically the amp output of your alternator, which is great for, you know, off-road lights and winches and stuff like that, you know, things with a lot of draw. So I think these two upgrades kind of go hand in hand, you know, the bigger alternator with the larger wires, just for the simple fact that now you really don't have to worry about your wires. I'll post a link for the lugs and the wires and the fuse holder and then the battery clamps down in the description below. Fairly simple upgrade. Now it gives me the confidence to use my winch pretty selfishly. That pretty much wraps it up. Thanks for watching.